Hey loves, this is Bobby and I am here with another video and another readathon. This is the readathon that I will be doing through the entire month of August. It starts August 1st through the 31st, and that is the Trope-ical Readathon, and it is being hosted by Gen Reviews and BookRob13. This whole readathon has to do with all the different types of tropes that we see throughout literature. I'm very excited for this one. It is a pretty massive readathon. There are 13 common trope challenges, and then there are also 5 different teams that have 2 extra prompts and 1 group book for each team, or 1 team book for each team. The 5 teams are the team romance, team horror thriller mystery, team contemporary literary fiction and historical fiction, team sci-fi fantasy, and team nonfiction poetry. I am going with team horror thriller mystery. I almost went with team fantasy sci-fi, but I really want to read the team book for the team horror. It sounds really cool, and that book is going to be Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is a Gothic style horror book that takes place with a girl who ends up, I think it's her cousin or something, ends up marrying this man, and when she gets there, shit just isn't right. And it sounded really cool. I'm having a hard time getting a physical copy of this book though. It seems to be either sold out or has a really long shipping time right now. So I will probably be reading this one digitally if I can't get a hold of it before the end of the readathon when I need to read it. There are, like I said, 2 challenges for each team. Also, there are the 13 prompts, and when it comes to the common prompts, there are the 13 tropes that you can read about, or there is an alternate prompt for those. I really like that because you can kind of mix and match your way around, and you can get in a bunch of different style of books. You do not have to read books from the genre for the team that you do. You can read whatever type of books you want, as long as they satisfy the prompts. This is a team style, so every team, for every book you read, you get points, and we gotta see who's gonna win at the end. So I am going for all the points. I'm very excited, but it is a massive TBR, but I've been doing really well these past few months, so fingers crossed. Let's get started. So the first ones I'm going to go over are the team challenges, and then I will go over the 13 prompts that I will be doing all the rest of my TBR for. Okay, for the first team prompt, it is a dark secret trope. Read a book that features a dark secret. I am going to be reading Blood for Blood by Ryan Graudin. This is a sequel. The first book is Wolf by Wolf. I really enjoyed that one. This series takes place after World War II, where the Nazis have won, and we follow the story of a girl named Yael who was taken as a child into the concentration camps and experimented on. When she was experimented on, she ends up getting the power to transform into other people, but there are stipulations to her transformation. She can only change into the same gender as her, around the same age, and any marks that are on her body, they transfer over when she does transform. They do transform over into the body that she's transforming into. I really enjoyed that. The whole point of that one is, not to get too into it, is that she's taking part in a motorcycle race that is held by the Axis power every year to celebrate them winning. Yael ends up transforming into the girl who had won the year before, named Adele Wolf. She's the only girl to have ever won, and every winner of the year's race, they get to attend a ball where Hitler is there, and they get to meet him, and Yael is tasked with killing Hitler. I loved that book. It was 5 stars. I am so excited to finally be able to put the sequel onto a readathon. This is a quite thick one, so it's got me a little nervous, but I have a feeling I can get through this one. In this one, this picks up from what I think like right after the ball, and Yael is on the run and she's hiding, and there are also more secrets that are going to be coming out. So yes, I'm very, very much looking forward to this one. The second team challenge trope is Disappearance Trope. Read a book where they feature a disappearance. I had picked this book up before. I just couldn't get into it, but I think it was more just I was very all over the place with what I was reading, so I'm here to give it a second chance, and that is Sockhill Girls by Claire Legrand. I have now read Furyborn, which is the other book written by this same author, and I liked the writing style, so I'm very excited for this one. This takes place on an island where there are girls that everyone believes there's like this kind of creature or monster that lives there, and all of these girls over just years and years have been going missing, but no one's ever done anything about it. These 3 girls end up kind of getting to knowing each other more, but I don't think they're like exactly friends. Like, I'm not sure. From what I remember, they weren't like, they didn't really know each other. They didn't really like each other that much, but they slowly kind of connect and try and figure out what's going on. One of the girls has like this really huge secret as well, so this one kind of fits both. But yes, I cannot wait to see where this one goes. I've seen very mixed reviews for this one, but I am excited for it. Okay, so now we are going to get into the 13 common trope challenges. These are the ones that you can read as many as you want or as little as you want, but for every prompt that you do finish, you get a point for your team. So these are just based around all the different prompts that you find in books, and there are alternate prompts to go along with it. I really like that. Like I said, you can really kind of play around with your TBR for this one, and I had a lot of fun doing that, and I've got some very interesting books on here because of it. So the first trope is the absent parent or dead parent trope. Read a book where the parents are either dead or they're just not around. Alternately, you can read a book that has more than one parent or authors. I am so excited with my choice because I have been trying to read this book for a while, but I have just been crazy with my other TBRs that I haven't had a chance, and that is Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire. I have been dying to read this. This follows a group of kids that live in a boarding school who all of them have visited these fantasy worlds, think like Narnia or Wonderland and stuff like that. They are now back into the normal world and they have to kind of just deal with it. And I'm assuming since they are at a boarding school, the parents aren't around, but I have been dying to read this. I'm so excited that I was able to put this onto this TBR, and this is probably going to be the first book I do read. Okay, so for the second trope is the weird name trope. I really liked this one, and I also appreciated that the host made sure to point out, do not be a racist dick with this trope. Just because a name is foreign doesn't mean it's weird. Like, I'm hoping people can get very creative with it, because there are some books that do, like Strange the Dreamer. The main character's name is Laszlo Strange. Like, you can go with that. Like, there are some really creative ones. I'm so happy with this choice as well. I just recently got this as a gift, but it's been on my need to buy list for a while. It was on my wish list for a while. I was so excited when I got it gifted to me, and that is The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried by Sean David Hutchinson. This is said to be like Pushing Daisies meets 6 Feet Under, so that alone I already knew I had to have it. Like, Pushing Daisies is one of my all-time favorite shows. The main character in this, his name is Dino, like dinosaur. I don't know what it's short for. I don't know if it is short for anything, but it just keeps saying Dino. His best friend, July, ends up, well, his ex-best friend, they just kind of stop being friends, and his ex-friend, July, ends up dying, and Dino works for his parents in their funeral home, and when he's there, he is, I don't know if he's prepping the body, but he's getting July's body ready for the funeral service, and next thing you know, July is waking up for him and he's able to talk to him, and this kind of just follows them trying to figure out, I don't know what happened to July, but kind of also follow what went wrong with their friendship. This is also LGBT. I'm so excited. This one I will be reading probably second if I don't read it first. I'm really going back and forth with reading this one or Every Heart a Doorway, because this just sounds so cool, and look at that awesome cover. So there we go. Okay, the next trope is the Outbreak or Pandemic trope, or alternately you can read a book that is part of a series. I am going to be reading a book that is part of a series. I read my first book by this author in July, and it is now one of my favorites, and I've heard that this one is even better, and I am so excited to get to it. It's another really thick one, so I'm a little nervous, but if anything, I'm reading this one like 100% for sure. If I have to throw everything else out the window, I don't care. I'm reading this book. And that is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy. I am very excited to get to this one. Like I said, I read Elantrius last month and it blew me away, so I knew I wanted to put another Brandon Sanderson book on to this TBR. It's a very thick one, and it's got pretty small writing, so I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I don't really know what this is about. I know this takes place in a world where the bad guys have won, and we're kind of just picking up from there. I don't want to know. I didn't know what Elantris was about, and I just loved it so much, so I'm going to just kind of go with that through the rest of his books, because I have bought the rest of his books now. So I'm very, very excited for this one. Okay, the next prompt is for the trope, the Forbidden Romance trope. Or alternately, you can read a book that has been banned in the past. I will be doing the trope part of this as the Forbidden Romance. I am doing this as a buddy read with my friend Emma, and we will be reading Crier's War by Nina Varela. This has to do with like a futuristic world, I believe, where the forbidden romance is between a human and an AI. That's all I really know, but I have been seeing this book mentioned a lot recently, and from what I understand, it is also LGBT, so I'm excited for it. I will be reading the ebook copy of it. I'm trying to get a physical copy, but I already have a digital, so I'm not in like a huge rush to get it, since I'm trying not to buy so many books, and I'm failing at that. But yes, I'm really happy to be reading this one, though, with my friend Emma. Our last buddy read did not turn out too well. We both hated the book, so here is to hoping that this one saves it for us. Okay, the next trope challenge is the Dystopian Trope, or alternately, you can read a book that is over 500 pages long. I am going to be going with the dystopian. I am going to be reading We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Mahia. This takes place in a dystopian future where there are basically, from what I understand, two types of society. You have the lower slums and everything that people are kind of just fighting for everything, and then you have the upper part of society, but all of this follows a girl, and only women in the upper society, they can either become the wife that runs the household, or the wife that takes care of the kids. This girl, I believe her name is Danny. Yeah, Daniela. She goes by Danny. Her family finds a way to sneak her into this upper class thing, but once she gets there, she's really not liking it, and she is tasked with spying on and learning the secrets and stuff of the elite there, because everyone else is still trying to fight and they're trying to overthrow this kind of system. This sounds a lot to me like The Handmaid's Tale. I've seen the TV show, but I haven't read the book yet, but it sounds really interesting. It's really different from something that I would normally read, so I cannot wait to get to this one. I haven't heard a lot about it, so I'm kind of going into this blind when it comes to expectations or anything about it, so yep. Okay, our next trope is the Blast from the Past trope. Read a book where the main character meets someone from their past, or read a book that was written before the year 2000. I'm going with the alternate prompt for this, which is the book, read a book before that was written before the year 2000. The book that I'm reading was written in the early 90s, I believe, and I was really glad I was able to put this one on this TBR because this is part of another readathon that I am doing as well, and that is the Wastelands by Stephen King. This is part of the Dark Tower trilogy, Dark Tower series. This is the third book. There's, I think, 7 or so books in the series. I am doing the Tower Readathon that Charlotte or Shakar is hosting over on Twitter. I'm enjoying the series so far. I know a lot of people so far aren't, that are also taking part in it, but I am. This is the farthest I had ever gotten in the series. I got a couple chapters into it years ago. I think it was like 15 years or so is when, I don't even have the bookmark in here anymore. It was about 15 years ago when I started this one, so I'm very excited to be finishing this series. I am determined to finish it. We do 1 book a month, and it's very manageable for me. I will be doing this one on audiobook though. I did the audiobook for the last book, The Drawing of the Three, and I really enjoyed it. So I think I'm going to be sticking with that format for now, as long as I can get the audiobooks from my library. So excited, and like I said, this was written in, like, I think 91, so I am very much safe with this one. Okay, so for the next prompt is the mixed media prompt. This is to read a book that features mixed media, which is, you can do letters or emails, as long as it's not written like a normal book. Or alternately, you can listen to an audiobook. I'm going to be covering both of these on this one. You don't get extra points for doing both, but I'm doing both. I read the first book in this series in July. I fell in love with it. I immediately bought the rest of the series, and I knew I had to put this one on here somewhere. I got really happy that they had this mixed media, prompt, because this whole book is written as a series of interviews. And that is Waking Gods. This is the second book in the Themis files by Sylvain Neuvel. Sleeping Giants is the first one. Like I said, I loved it. The whole book is written as a series of interviews. I was just blown away about this. Like, I loved it so much. Like, I am really excited to do this. I did the audiobook, and I want to stick with the audiobook format, but I like to follow along with the book, so that is what I will be doing. This follows the story of, there is this girl, she was riding her bike, she ends up falling down this hole, and when she wakes up, she's being cradled in this giant metal hand, and nobody knows where this hand came from. They don't know anything about it. And then we kind of go forward in time, where that same girl ends up growing up to be a scientist, and she eventually gets tasked with trying to find out what this is, and they slowly start building up more pieces to this. It's not just a hand, there are different pieces, and they find them all over the world. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. They're really fast. I ended up sitting in one sitting, like, I think it was like 5 hours, and did not move and just listened to it, because I was just like, holy crap, I love this. So I'm very, very excited for this one. This might be one in the top 5 that I am reading this month that I will be starting with. Okay, on to the next prompt is the artificial intelligence prompt. Read a book featuring an AI, or alternately, you can read a ebook. I am going to be going with the AI trope, and I'm going to be reading The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg. This takes place in a kind of utopian future where the main setting is at a theme park called The Kingdom. In the kingdom, there are these different AI princesses. One of them eventually falls in love with this boy, and he goes missing, and they think that she killed him, and she has to start accessing parts of her memories so they can find out what actually happened. It sounds really different. I haven't really seen anything on this book at all, but I've had it for quite a while, and like I said, I'm trying to get through quite of my own books. Since I keep buying more, I'm trying to at least read 1 book for every book I'm buying. But it sounds really interesting. If you've read this one, let me know, because I have no idea. I've literally never heard a single thing about this, so I'm looking forward to it. Okay, the next trope is the amnesia trope. Read a book featuring amnesia, or you can read a book that you forgot you had on your TBR. I'm going with the amnesia trope, and this is also fits the book I forgot I had on my TBR because I've had it for quite a few years and I forgot about it until when I had reorganized my shelves a few months ago. So yeah, I'm going both on this one as well. And I am going with the program by Susan Young. This takes place in the future where there is like a suicide epidemic that is happening with a bunch of teenagers. The main character, Sloane, her older sister, I believe it is, has killed herself, and now she is just kind of hiding any emotion she has because she doesn't want to go to this program treatment center, because every time someone does, they're fixed, but they don't have any memories left. So she doesn't want this to happen to her, but I believe she eventually ends up being sent there, and she meets this boy named James, and that's all I know. Like I said, I've had this book for quite a few years. I recently saw it mentioned in a video, so it made me remember that I had it, and it fits the amnesia, so we're going with it. I'm really interested in this one. I think I have one other book by this author, but I've never read it either. So we'll see how this one goes as well. Okay, our next trope is the enemies to lover trope, or you can do enemies to friends if you like. The alternate is to read a book that you DNF'd before. I'm going with the DNF alternate prompt for this one. I had this book in my unhaul stack, and I kind of want to finish it because I really like the premise of it, but I tried reading it before and I just didn't like it. But I have the audiobook now, so I'm going to read along with it, and I have a feeling I'm going to like this one as an audiobook because just the writing was very odd for me, but I really do think I'm going to like the audiobook. I DNF'd this last year, so it's not as bad as some of my other ones, but like I said, I had it in my unhaul pile, and I really hate getting rid of books that I haven't actually read, because you never know, I might end up really liking it. And that is the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This is like Clue meets Groundhog Day, and those are two of my favorite movies, so I really hope I'm able to like this one. I'm still going in with high hopes again, even though I was disappointed before. But this follows a boy named Aiden, who he is at this party at an estate, and every night at 11 o'clock, Evelyn Hardcastle is murdered. Once she's murdered, Aiden wakes up again, and the day has started over. The only problem is he keeps waking up as different people at this party. So that was where it kind of lost me, because I read the first, I think, 2 times that he changed, and it was just 2 or 3 times he changed, and I got really confused, and I'm pulling for the audiobook on this one because, like I said, it has so much potential, and I'm hoping it pulls through for me. And I've heard both sides for this one. People really like it or you really hate it, so I'm going in this again. I'm gonna try and have an open mind, but I am very much looking forward to hopefully seeing where this goes, because it just sounds so cool. I have a feeling this would make a really cool movie though, like I really do, so I'm hoping the audiobook works. So there we go. The next trope is the Chosen One Trope, or to read a book that someone picks for you. I'm going to be going with the Chosen One Trope, and I'm going to be reading Uprooted by Naomi Novak. I've heard about this book quite a bit in the past, and I was always interested in it, but I kind of just forgot about it. I never bought it or anything, and then recently I've seen it mentioned a lot, both negative and positive, but I'm still really interested in it, and and it was on sale the other day on Kindle, so I picked it up and I'm gonna try and read it. And this follows the story of a girl who lives in this village. This is a high fantasy from what I understand. She lives in this village where every year a girl is taken by a dragon, and everybody kind of knows who's going to get chosen the next time. It's supposed to be like the most beautiful girl in the village, but of course that doesn't happen. It ends up happening to the main character. I'm going into this one with an open mind because, like I said, I've heard good, I've heard bad, and I'm very interested though to see how I like this one. I'm starting to read a little more high fantasy, so here's to hoping this is a good one. But from what I understand, this is a pretty thick book, I think. Like I said, I don't have a physical copy, so I don't know, but I didn't even check the page count on this one when I picked it. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, the next trope challenge is the New Kid in Town trope. Read a book featuring the main character who is new in town, or you can read alternately a genre you don't normally read. I'm going with the New Kid in Town, and I'm going to be reading It's Not Like It's a Secret by Misa Segura. This is a LGBT plus book. The main character, I believe, is a lesbian, and this does feature a sapphic romance. The main character, Sana, she just kind of keeps a bunch of secrets. She doesn't really get invited places by her friends and stuff, and it bothers her, but she never says anything. She thinks her dad is having an affair. She has a crush on her best friend who is a girl, and she just doesn't say anything. Her and her family eventually have to move to California, and this is where she meets the love interest for this one. I believe her name is Jamie, and she kind of just starts coming out for herself and everything. And I have been trying to read a lot more LGBT books. I've read quite a few recently, and I'm also trying to read a little more contemporary, and really the only time I read contemporary is if they are LGBT. So I'm hoping it's really cute. That's kind of what I'm hoping for with this, as well as being a really good kind of coming out and coming into yourself type of story. So I am looking forward to this one. Okay, we are on to the last prompt. Yes, thank goodness. This is a really long video, and I am sorry about that, but this is a lot of ground to cover. So the last trope is the retelling trope. Read a book that is a retelling, or alternately you can read a book that has been turned into a movie or a TV show. I'm going to be going with the retelling trope. With this one, I kind of picked out some retelling books that I've had on my need to get to TBR, and this one kind of just stuck out to me because I have wanted to read it and I've had it for quite a while, and that is Girls Made of Snow and Glass by Melissa Chardost. This, I believe, is a Snow White retelling. This is a dual perspective, I believe. One of the main characters is her father is a magician, and he ended up taking her heart out and replacing it with a glass one, and she kind of wants to free herself and learn about love and hopefully get her heart back. And to do this, she ends up marrying or trying to marry this king, but he does have a daughter, so she becomes a stepmother, and she doesn't like the stepdaughter, but the stepdaughter does actually look up to her and stuff. That's all I really know about this. It sounded really good when I first bought it, and I've always meant to pick it up and I just never got around to it. So I am looking forward to this one. This might be one of the other ones that I'm really excited to read. I haven't read that many retellings recently. I used to read quite a few of them, and I'm trying to read more of them. And like I said, I've had this one for a while, and I'm trying to read more of my older books. So I'm very much looking forward to this. So there we have it. There is my TBR for the Trope-ical Readathon, and I am very excited for this one. I have got some great books. I am very nervous. Seeing all of these kind of stacked up at one time is like nerve-wracking because that's a hell of a lot of pages, but I am going to try my hardest to get through all of these and do as best as I can, because I'm not going to stress too much about it. I really enjoyed doing the reading rush, and I kind of take this laid back where I'm like, I want to read them all, but I'm not going to force myself, because I see so many people getting like really stressed out, and a lot of people talking about not wanting to do the reading rush because they get stressed during it, and I'm just not about that. Like, I'm going to read what I can, and I'm hoping I can get through this huge stack, but I've got the ones I definitely know I want to do first. A few of these I'm going to see if I can get audiobooks to go along with them, but I am hopefully not going to be changing my TBR like I am known for, because I constantly am. I think I changed this like 3 times already before filming this, so I'm trying to set in place this is what I'm reading. So thank you for watching. If you're taking part in the Trope-ical Readathon, I'd love to know. I'd love to follow and see what you are reading. And thank you for watching, and happy reading.